accidentally became a vigilante for my neighborhood, and it was a wild ride. It was a typical Tuesday evening for me. I had just gotten home from work, changed into my comfiest clothes, and was making myself a simple dinner of pasta and marinara sauce. As I was cooking, I noticed a commotion outside my window. At first, I thought it was just kids playing in the street. Then I heard a loud crash and saw a car speeding away from the scene. My neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, was lying on the ground, clutching her arm in pain. My initial reaction was shock and concern for Mrs. Johnson's well-being. I rushed outside to see if she was okay and called 911. While waiting for the ambulance to arrive, I noticed a group of teenagers lingering around the scene, looking guilty and nervous. One of them was holding a broken bike, and I could see the faint outline of a bicycle lock chain wrapped around the handlebars. It looked like they had been involved in the accident. As I was trying to keep Mrs. Johnson calm and comforted, I couldn't help but think about the senseless destruction of property and the harm caused to an innocent person. I felt a surge of anger and frustration towards the teenagers, who seemed completely unbothered by what they had done. I remember thinking to myself, why do kids these days have no respect for others or for themselves? When the paramedics arrived, they took Mrs. Johnson to the hospital to treat her injuries. I stayed behind to give a statement to the police and provide them with any information I had about the incident. As I was waiting for them to arrive, I noticed the teenagers trying to sneak away, but I chased after them and managed to corner them in an alleyway. I remember thinking, this is it, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind and make sure they face the consequences of their actions. But as I looked at them, I saw something that caught me off guard. They were just kids, scared and ashamed. One of them started crying, and the others looked at me with pleading eyes. I realized that I was holding them up against a wall, my heart racing and my fists clenched. I took a step back and looked at them with a different perspective. They weren't the enemy, they were just kids who had made a mistake. I let them go, but not before telling them to apologize to Mrs. Johnson and to clean up the mess they had made. As I watched them slink away, I felt a sense of disappointment and regret. I had let my emotions get the best of me and had almost escalated the situation further. The next day, I saw Mrs. Johnson at the grocery store, and she thanked me for my help. We exchanged numbers, and she asked me to keep an eye on her house while she was away on vacation. I agreed, and as I was walking home, I saw the teenagers from the night before. They looked up at me, and I expected them to be angry or defensive, but instead, they smiled and waved. One of them even handed me a bouquet of flowers and said, "Thanks for not turning us in, dude." I was taken aback by their kindness and generosity. It was a strange and unexpected turn of events, but it made me realize that sometimes people can surprise you in the best way possible. As I walked home, I felt a sense of pride and satisfaction, knowing that I had helped make a difference in my neighborhood, even if it was in a small way. From that day on, I made it my mission to keep an eye on the neighborhood and help out whenever I could. I started a community watch program, and we were able to prevent several other incidents from happening. It was a wild ride, but it taught me that sometimes the best way to make a difference is to simply be a good neighbor.